So good morning students, welcome to the next class of Long Walk to Freedom. Already we have discussed in Long Walk to Freedom and we have started. Now we have discussed, I feel that you are having the textbook in front of you in page number 21 of that book, that first right that we had completed last day in my last class, that man's goodness is a flame that can be hidden but never extinguished, that we discussed last day. And the thing is that few of you you are asking question to me. Again I am telling that ask question. We don't know that when we will meet again in a classroom situation, but so far we will have to continue our classes. So it would be better if you ask question, if you have any queries, and I will answer you. That I have already answered in that using that portal. You must ask question to me as well. So today we have already completed 3 classes on this Long Walk to Freedom. This would be the 4th class of Long Walk to Freedom. So today we will start from here the last paragraph of page number 21. From here we will start today and we will discuss the rest of the part. So let's start. Here we are reading. I am just reading the text and explaining the text. I feel it's getting understandable to you, and again I am telling, if you have any problem in understanding, please ask me question. So let's start from these. That is, you can see that the last paragraph there in page number 21. In life, every man has twin obligations. Obligations to his family, to his parents, to his wife and children, and he has an obligation to his people. Here Nelson Mandela is telling that in life of a man there is twin obligations. Obligations means here responsibilities, duties. One to his families, to his parents, to his children, to his wife, another to his people. People means to the people, to the society where the person is living. His community, his country, these are the society people. So here Nelson Mandela is telling that each person is having 2 responsibilities in life. One towards his family, other towards his society where he is living, and towards the country as well. In a civil and human society, each man is able to fulfill those obligations according to his own inclinations and abilities. Inclinations means here that natural tendencies of behavior, here desires. Here Nelson Mandela is telling that yes, each man is able to fulfill all these responsibilities, both the responsibilities towards his family and towards his country, towards his society, according to their own desires. But in a country like South Africa, it was almost impossible for a man of my birth and color to fulfill both of those obligations. But here Nelson Mandela is telling that in South Africa, where we know that black people have been severely tortured by the white people, there Mandela is telling that there are lots of impediments, lots of problems, lots of difficulties a person has to face in fulfilling both the responsibilities. In South Africa, a man of color who attempted to live as a human being was punished and isolated. A man of color means say the black people. If a black people wants to live like a human being, wants to lead a very common life, wants to build a peaceful life by maintaining all the responsibility towards his country, towards his families, that person has severely been punished and isolated, been separated from the society. In South Africa, a man who tried to fulfill his duty to his people was inevitably ripped from his family and his home and was forced to live a life apart, a twilight existence of scary and rebellion. Here Mandela is telling that if a person in South Africa of the black people, if a black people wants to fulfill their responsibility towards his country, towards his society, then this man as a sort of punishment has been ripped, means had been as if he has been snatched away from his family, and he had to live a very tough life, where that full, here it is, that and was forced to live a life apart, a twilight existence. A twilight existence, a twilight, twilight means just before it gets dark, means as if they will have to live a very tough life there. I did not in the beginning chose to place my people above my family, but in attempting to serve my people, I found that I was prevented from fulfilling my obligations as a son, a brother, a father, and a husband. Now here what Mandela has told, that I did not in the beginning choose to place my people above my family. He told that at first I tried to serve my family first, and then I thought about my people, about my society, about my country. But then when I started to serve my country, my people, then I found that I had been forced to maintain all the duties towards my son, towards my parents, and towards my wife. That is why he told that I was prevented from fulfilling my obligations, my duties as a son, a brother, a father, and a husband. Means he told that whenever he tried to serve his society, his country, then he had to face a lots of problem. I was not born with a hunger to be free. Now again he is telling, I was born free in every way that I could know. This part is interesting. That when I was born, I didn't know that I was under bondage of these white people. So I was born free. And I was not very much hungry to be free, because I knew this was freedom. He is telling about his childhood days, that where he did not know what was the real meaning of freedom. Free to run in the fields near my mother's hut, free to swim in the clear stream that ran through my village, free to roast maize under the stars and ride the broad backs of slow moving bulls. Actually, this is the meaning of freedom to Mandela when he was a child, that he could run freely near the field of their house, he could swim freely in the stream, he could roast maize under the sky, okay, and he also, maize means here roast popcorns under the sky, and he could also ride the broad backs of bulls. Actually, this was the meaning of freedom to Mandela when he was a child. As long as I obeyed my father and abided by the customs of my tribe, I was not troubled by the laws or men or God. And up to these, he was abided by the customs of their society. He was very happy with his parents. He was just doing all these responsibilities towards his parents, and he was happy because he meant, as he was a child, he did not know what actually freedom is, and in his childhood that freedom means like this, that he actually used to understand freedom in that age. These are the things. It was only when I began to learn that my boyhood freedom was an illusion, when I discovered as a young man that my freedom had already been taken from me, that I began to hunger for it. But when he became a boy, when he came from his childhood to his boyhood, then he realized, no, this is not the real meaning of freedom. Actually, what is real freedom? That has been stripped away, that has been snatched away that has been stripped off, or that has been snatched away from him. And as a young man, he could realize this. And when he realized that this is not the real freedom that he thought, it seemed to him that this is freedom when he was a child, but when he actually grew up, then he realized, no, the real freedom has been snatched away from him. At first, as a student, I wanted freedom only for myself, the transitory freedoms of being able to stay out at night, read what I pleased, and go where I chose. This is the freedom as a student. When he was a student, he wanted that these are the way that to enjoy my freedom, that to go out at night, to read whatever he likes. These are the things that he thought that as a student, these are the freedom, and he wanted to enjoy these. Later, as a young man in Johannesburg, I yearned for the basic and the honorable freedoms of achieving my potential, of earning my keep, of marrying, and having a family, the freedom not to be obstructed in a lawful life. But when he became a young man, he just after completion of his studies, when he became a young man, he now wanted to earn for his own livelihood, for his own keeping. He wanted to marry, and he dreamed to have a family and wanted to follow a lawful life, and there he was obstructed. He could not do this. So the question recurringly comes from this, that mention the different meaning of freedom in Mandela's life as he saw in his different ages, and these are the different freedoms. But then I slowly saw that not only was I not free, but my brothers and sisters were not free. But when he found that he could not actually, he could not maintain, he could not fulfill his dream, he could not fulfill his desire, his freedom, his way of freedom, the meaning of freedom, that he wanted to lead a free life, he wanted to lead a lawful life that has heavily been obstructed. Then he found that he was not the only person that his freedom has been stripped off from him. He also found that not only he, but his brothers means all the people, black colored people, their life has also been obstructed. They could not also enjoy the freedom in their life. I saw that it was not just my freedom that was curtailed, but the freedom of everyone who looked like I did. Means he told that curtail means reduced. He realized that not only my freedom had been reduced, but the freedom of the black people, as if the people that look like me, the black people, all their freedom had been curtailed, had been reduced. That is when I joined the African National Congress, and that is when the hunger for my own freedom became the greater hunger for the freedom of my people. Now at that juncture, when he saw that all this freedom has been reduced, the black people could not enjoy their freedom, in that juncture he just in that point he joined that African National Congress, that ANC. He was the president, and today we know that is in 1994, the 10th May, on which day he was just he was taking his oath to be the first black president of South Africa. That at that moment he joined African National Congress, and he just started his struggle for freedom, and for freedom for my people. My people means of these black people. It was this desire for the freedom of my people to live their lives with dignity and self-respect that animated my life, that transformed a frightened young man into a bold one, that drove a law-abiding attorney to become a criminal, that turned a family-loving husband into a man without a home, that forced a life-loving man to live like a monk. He told that this very hunger of achieving the freedom that has been curtailed, that has been subdued, this very desire of achieving this freedom had lots of transformation. That here, how there he has told that earlier he was as if that transformed, that very desire has transformed a frightened young man to a bold one, as if he was frightened at first, but now he became very brave, because he realized I will have to achieve this freedom. They drove a law-abiding attorney to become a criminal. It was as if he was a law-abiding attorney, a lawyer, but he was not actually, he would not go back if he wanted to be a criminal for achieving this freedom. They turned a family-loving husband into a man without a home. He is telling that we know that for 27 years he had to spend in jail. He is telling himself that he was a family-loving person. He loves all the family members. Everybody loves, but he also loved very much. But for achieving this, for this struggle as he started against these white people, that struggle actually forced him to spend that 27 years, long time, behind the bars, means in the jail. That forced a life-loving man to live like a monk. He also wanted to, to enjoy in his life, but he had to spend life like a monk, separated from the people, as a sort of punishment. I am not more virtuous or self-sacrificing than the next man, but I found that I could not even enjoy the poor and limited freedoms I was allowed when I knew my people were not free. Now, as a leader, he was given few more freedom from the common people, but he realized, no, I am not satisfied with these freedom also, because being a leader, he got few freedom, being the leader of National Congress, African National Congress. But when he realized, no, this freedom is only for me, this freedom is not for the black people of his race, then also he could not enjoy. And that is why these are the features of a true leader, and that is why he could not enjoy the freedom also. I knew freedom is indivisible. The chains on any one of my people were the chains on all of them. The chains on all of my people were the chains on me. He is telling, no, if I have been assigned to this freedom, I cannot enjoy this because I know my black people are in chains. They actually are not free to enjoy this freedom. And if it is so, then how could I enjoy this? Here it has been stated that suppose if I am not, I'm free, but if I feel all my black people, all my people are under chains, then I am also under chains. I knew that the oppressor must be liberated just as surely as the oppressed. Now, oppressor means who is torturing, oppressed who are being tortured. A man who takes away another man's freedom is a prisoner of hatred. He is locked behind the bars of prejudice and narrow-mindedness. He told that the man who is snatching another man's freedom, he is also a prisoner, because he is a prisoner of hatred. The man from whom he is snatching the freedom, this man is hating him a lot. And here prejudice means a strong dislike is also there on this oppressor. Means here oppressed started to hate the oppressor. I am not truly free if I am taking away someone else's freedom, just as surely as I am not free when my freedom is taken from me. He is telling that suppose I am taking the freedom from someone else, then I am also will not enjoy my freedom. In the same way, when my freedom has been snatched away by others, then also I cannot enjoy my freedom. The oppressed and the oppressor alike are robbed of their humanity. Both oppressor means who is torturing, oppressed who are being tortured, their humanity actually had been robbed of. Robbed of means stripped of. So that is the end of the reading of the text. We have completed reading. Now here few questions are there, that oral comprehension, that what twin obligations does Mandela mention, today we discussed about. What did being free mean to Mandela as a boy and as a student? As I told that Mandela used to mean different freedom in different age and all this. So how does he contrast these transitory freedoms with the basic and honorable freedoms? The answers will be very easy. Does Mandela think the oppressor is free? Why or why not? These are the answers. I can tell you that I hope that you have understood this explanation, and I can tell you that you try to answer your question of your own. If you have any problem, ask me question using your portal, e-school portal, and I will give you answer. So we had completed in this book first 2 chapters. So next day I'm going to start another fresh chapter, and I'm not going to start with that poem, but rather let us start with the 2 stories about flying. In the next class I will be starting with 2 stories about flying, and up to this today we had completed that long walk to freedom. Ask me question, I will answer you. Till then, goodbye.